You don't have to look too hard to find Star Citizen players asking what the best ship is, or what the best loadout for their ship is. This is what a lot of gaming comes down to: what's the current meta, or what's the one best way to achieve a set goal. And that's an important consideration when it comes to Star Citizen 2, because of the huge variety of ships, components or weapons. But is something lost along the way of looking for that one best setup? I'm Forrester, and in this video we'll explore that idea. I regularly share Star Citizen videos on my YouTube channel, so if this kind of video sounds like something you'd like to see more of, you might like to press that subscribe button so you can know when new videos go live and can join in. Let's start with the obvious as it relates to Star Citizen. Star Citizen is in alpha testing. That means that although there are cursory balance passes from time to time, we don't have the luxury of the finished article to play with. You could even say that time spent perfectly balancing the game at this point would be somewhat superfluous, work that would only need redoing later on, and taking valuable resources away from development. If you followed the game for the past few years, you've probably seen the supposedly optimal setup shift over that time. Maybe from ballistic weapons to full missile setups to distortion or scatterguns, then to high capacitor laser gunfire. And that's probably a natural byproduct of active development. But in the long term, game balance is really important to encourage a healthy variety, especially so because Star Citizen is supposed to be an immersive universe. Variety is absolutely critical to the long-term success of that immersion, as if everybody you encounter is flying the same spaceship, with the same loadout, in the same way, well, the huge universe quickly becomes bland. Yes, there is likely to be an element of personal preference that always comes into play when that variety is offered. If I reference some brands from the tech or automotive world, like Intel or AMD, there will be people with strong affiliation with both sides of that coin. And as with many things in the world, there are trade-offs associated with both, and at any given time one specific product might be objectively better than another specific product. But largely, despite what the diehards would have us believe, performance is usually relatively close to validate either choice. And that's really important in Star Citizen. There is a huge variety in the game already of ship manufacturers and component choices, and each person will be drawn to different choices for different reasons. Regular viewers will know I'm particularly drawn to Origin and Crusader ships, and I'm partial to a high rate of fire ballistic weapon. You might have different things that appeal to you, and that's great. It makes for more variety and more player choice. Where that falls down is if those choices have a considerable negative impact on your gameplay experience. Take those ballistic weapons as an example. In recent builds, the low ammunition stores mean that you rarely see players using them, because ships using such loadouts barely have the endurance for a single fight. That puts players who have that natural preference at such a disadvantage that they probably switch to alternatives, thus reducing the variety. That's not to say there isn't a role for strategy countering, like a rock-paper-scissors type of mechanic, with specific designed strengths and weaknesses, and we may see more of that kind of gameplay when we see shields and armour to complement energy and ballistics. Although that also needs to be purposely balanced, that can create for interesting scenarios for players. And a marginal difference in performance is probably okay too. Ballistics will always run out more readily than energy weapons, it's just a matter of how much bang you get before that happens. But the relative closeness of that balance becomes all the more important the more choices there are in game, and we're seeing more and more choices every patch. So what do we do to address balancing concerns for a game still in development? Well, the advantage of active development is that we can give feedback, letting the developers know what's going well and what we'd like to see changed, and naturally continue to report bugs through the issue council. Many players will continue to simply look for what is the one best way to set up their ship. I hope that we can evolve that discussion to what is the one best way to set up your ship for you. Maybe you're different to me, maybe you like taking a longer quantum drive journey to save fuel. Maybe you love distortion cannons or a stealth loadout to get in close before you're spotted. Maybe you engage in PvP, maybe you fight AI. The richness of choice that offers makes for much more interesting decision making by all players, but is underpinned by requiring that relative closeness of performance, which is delivered through careful balancing. Maybe you disagree though. Should there be one objectively best way to play the game? I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. As ever, if you enjoyed this video or found it thought-provoking, please do press that like button. It's really helpful to me to work out what you're enjoying watching the most, so I can tailor future videos towards what you want to see. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed, and as ever, thank you for watching.